how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. I'm actually just working on Apple Intelligence. It's nearly finished.
Excellent. I just came to ask how that iPad mini's coming along, the new one.
Sorry? What? Are you just telling me this now?
I know, but these iPad mini fans are getting their knickers in a knot because we haven't put out an update for ages.
You heard what Tim said. We've got to get Apple Intelligence finished. We're already years behind schedule.
Is there anything that we could do at short notice?
I don't know, maybe a bit of a spec bump? Just the bare minimum though, just like a faster chip maybe?
Yeah, okay, that might work, but it's got to be an M series chip, right?
We just haven't got time for that. Have we got any spare chips lying around?
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, we've actually got loads of those A17 Pro chips left from last year's iPhone 15 Pro. We could use those.
Oh, nice. I thought we'd binned all of those. Well, waste not, want not. Let's use them up.
Great, cool.
Okay, done.
I know it's a long shot, but is there anything else?
Mate, come on. You literally just told me about this. I'm not a miracle worker. People will be happy with a spec bump.
No, I'm telling you, these mini fans, they're going to need more than that.
Okay, what if we upgraded the storage a bit? Maybe made the base level like 128 gigabytes?
Yeah, I mean, that might work.
Okay. Just gonna get back to this.
Is there like anything else we could throw in?
Okay, all right, fine. Let's just sort out the whole mess about which Apple Pencil people should buy. We can kill off the second gen wireless one and make it so that you can only use the new expensive Apple Pencil Pro. Oh, and to please the poor people, they could just use that annoying USB-C version that doesn't charge wirelessly.
Do you know what? I think that'll do. It's unlikely people are going to be really cross if we just keep it really low key. No big launches or keynotes or anything like that, just a simple press release.
Yeah, of course, it's absolutely fine. Plus, Apple Intelligence is coming when I get around to finishing it, and it will work on this new iPad mini.
Thank you for your help, Dave. You are the best.
All right, see you later, Dave.
Oh, before I go, I'll just leave you with this. Have you thought about the fact that the standard 10th gen iPad is the only one in the series that won't run Apple Intelligence?
Okay, get out.
The iPad mini 7 is here, and I'm going to attempt to answer all the questions you've been sending me over the last week or so. And just a quick spoiler alert, you might not like some of my answers. Does it still have the screen issue? Okay, let's get this one out of the way first. Jelly Scroll was the big sticking point for a lot of people using iPad minis last generation. Long story short, the screen was refreshing at different rates, leading to a wobbly-like effect if you were scrolling vertically and moving up and down. I have 3 thoughts on this. Firstly, who is using their iPad like this? If you can't read because of some jelly scrolling issue, I guarantee this makes it absolutely impossible to read anything. And secondly, there is the question of whether you will notice, even if it is there, which, being honest, it kind of is, if you look for it. So to my eyes, which medically I'm told are outstanding, I can't say I really notice because my iPad usage is mainly scrolling left to right rather than up and down. But I imagine that once you've seen this, and if it bothers you, you can't unsee it, which means you'll probably want to grab the larger iPad Air or perhaps the more expensive iPad Pro, which comes with double the refresh rate and is buttery smooth. Finally, even though the jelly scroll is still there, it is better than the way it was. So even though it's not fixed, it is less obvious. Does it heat up? Now this is a really interesting question because the same A17 Pro chip is in my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and this occasionally gets extremely hot to touch, especially when I'm using heavy consumption apps like photo editing or, weirdly, Apple Notes. So far, I haven't found this is the case with the new iPad mini. It could be that the slightly bigger size or the different material just dissipates heat in a different way to my phone, but yeah, no thermal problems so far. And how closely does this resemble the performance of a pro-level iPad? I've grouped these 2 questions together as they're basically asking the same thing. Now, Geekbench is an app that you can download that runs a series of tests on your processor and times how long it takes to complete a bunch of tasks. I don't normally cover this kind of stuff on the channel because in my view, it's most important to test how things perform in real life situations rather than these kind of artificial performance tests. But yeah, basically, the higher the score, the more powerful and capable the device is. Now, we should see that my 11-inch iPad Pro is the most powerful here, and sure, this is an absolutely massive score with its mega powerful M4 processor and the 10-core CPU performance, plus tons of memory bandwidth. So if we take a look at the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPad mini 7, this should be interesting because as far as I can tell, they have the same chip and the same amount of cores, just correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Now, interestingly, the new iPad mini outperforms my iPhone 15 Pro on both the single core score in a slight way, but on the multi-core front, the difference is actually quite substantial. Now, I'm not clever enough to know why this might be, but yeah, obviously this isn't reaching iPad Pro level power, but then it shouldn't be, because it's also more than double the price of the iPad mini. What demanding tasks and applications now run smoother? Okay, so this is a connected question, but more about real life usage. And to me, bearing in mind I use the iPad mini 6 for years and I've been using the iPad Pro now for a few months, the new iPad mini is noticeably faster with this new chip upgrade. Hopping between apps, loading up websites, anything graphically intensive like playing a game, it really does zip along quite nicely. And yes, I can confirm, having installed the iOS 18 public beta and tweaked my regional settings so that I can play with Apple Intelligence, given I'm in the UK, it does run Apple Intelligence, and the features that are available at the time of making this video are working just fine. No X-rated emojis yet though. Sorry. Does the old folio work with the new iPad mini, or did the magnets moving force a new buy? Nice and easy this one. Apple will try and sell you a new folio when you order this, but actually any case that fit the iPad mini 6th generation will fit the new 7th gen option, as they are exactly the same dimensions and the camera bump is in the same position because it's the same camera. So yeah, if you want to save some money, you can buy an iPad mini case that's made to fit the last generation. It'll fit just fine. Apple Pencil hover feature. Yeah, so this is the Apple Pencil Pro. Excuse the skin and custom grip. I like to pimp my pencil out. Sorry, I know that sounded all kinds of wrong. This is now compatible with the iPad mini, and you've got to love how neatly this fits on here when it's charging. I just wish the magnets were a bit more powerful, as it's incredibly easy to knock this off when it's in a bag or even when you're just holding it. The good news is that the Apple Pencil Pro comes with Find My built in, so if you do drop it somewhere, you should be able to track it down using any of your Apple devices. And yes, it does now use the Apple Pencil hover feature, which shows a little spotlight, and that super fancy shadow, which shows what pen tool you selected. Here's a little fountain pen and also a watercolor brush. Pretty cool, eh? If slightly useless. Any third-party alternatives for the Apple Pencil Pro? Yeah, absolutely. I covered this on a previous iPad mini accessories video from a brand called Penoval. The link's just up here if you want to go and have a look. It charges wirelessly, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Apple's own brand, like the pressure sensitivity or the barrel roll. It is, however, about $30, which is about a quarter of the cost of the Apple Pencil Pro, so it's a much more effective route into digital note-taking. Logitech also make a stylus of sorts which works on iPads. It's called the Crayon, and it's about the same cost as the USB-C Apple Pencil. Both of these are viable alternatives if you don't want either of the official Apple Pencil options. Battery life. Okay, this was probably one of my two biggest gripes with the previous generation iPad mini. The other one, just in case you're wondering, was the screen brightness, which they kept exactly the same as the previous generation, 500 nits on this LCD display. In a regular indoor environment, that's going to see you just fine. For instance, I use this in a train station and on a train by the window with no issues, but in bright sunshine, you're going to find yourself just wanting that little bit more. Admittedly, I have been spoiled by that OLED Ultra Retina XDR display that comes in the new iPad Pro, which is ludicrously bright, but it all depends on your use case. Slight tangent there, let me get back to the original question, which was about battery life. So yeah, my other issue with the 6th generation iPad mini was that my battery would often run out and would often not even last a full day after starting on a full charge. I do understand that the trade-off of a smaller, more portable device is that you have to accept that the battery life won't be as long as a larger iPad, but if you have to lug around a massive battery bank to stay charged up, I think that kind of cancels out the benefits of being able to put this in your pocket. Anyway, with this new one, 3 days in, and I'm finding that the battery life is quite a bit better than the previous generation. So for example, yesterday, I took it out with me on a shoot and I used it all day and it still had a good 20-30% left. My older 6th generation model definitely didn't give me that kind of battery life. I'm guessing my results are due to this being a new battery and also due to a more efficient chip, but we'll have to see what more battery intensive tasks I can find for this little thing and how the battery holds up long term. I do gather that you can use Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro on this now, which is just wild, so bear with me on that front. I'm going to test a bunch of heavy use apps out and I'll come back to you on the long-term battery usage. Hopefully that helps with your burning questions. If you've got any more, drop them below and I'll do my best to answer. I've got to say, I was really interested to see how much I'd enjoy going back to this size after using the iPad Pro for quite some time now, and I feel quite conflicted because on one hand, the amazing display on the iPad Pro is just unbeatable, and yet I can't put it in my pocket and take it to a meeting like I can with this one. And even in a few days of usage, I found myself feeling nostalgic and full of this kind of rekindled love for this Kindle-sized design as I've been getting to grips with it all over again. And while I'm appreciative of the spec bump, I can't help but feel sad that the main issues that people had with the last generation of iPad mini remain largely unresolved. And that's been my challenge making this initial first impressions review. I could have written a review of everything I wanted this device to be, or reviewed what it actually is. It's a mini-sized iPad, and if you love this form factor, it's the best iPad mini you can get your hands on right now. I will make a more detailed review once I get the chance to become fully reacquainted with the iPad mini again, and if you're not subscribed, hit the button and stay tuned for tons more iPad mini content. In the meantime, if this has left you wondering what else you should be looking at, maybe one of the other iPads, there's a whole video over here that should help. See you next time.